is the ultimate travel guide from the people who know it best. Weekends with Yankee.
I'm at the Golden Harvest Market in Kittery, Maine, and I need to get some local veggies for a very cool cooking segment I'm going to be doing. I'm heading over to Strawbery Banke, which is on the site of the earliest European settlement in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Now there they have buildings representing different eras of American history, and I'm going to be cooking over a hearth using methods that they used in the late 17 and early 1800s. And now I'm going to head over there, and I think we're going to take a little tour around the property first. Hey, Alex.
Good morning, Miss Amy.
So nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Welcome to Strawbery Banke.
Thank you. So tell me a little bit about this place.
Okay, so Strawbery Banke is an outdoor history museum. We have almost 40 buildings on almost 10 acres, and we're telling the story over time of this neighborhood. So rather than one period in time, we're time traveling.
That is really unique. So which eras are we going to be doing today?
We're going to start between 10 and 12,000 years ago with the original Abenaki inhabitants of this region. This is a reconstructed Abenaki wigwam, or sometimes it's called a Wetu in other Algonquian languages. And this would have been a single family home for an indigenous family before European contact. Population estimates at the time of contact, so about 400 years ago, suggest that there were about 20 million people in North America. People who had carefully cultivated the landscape, who had planted crops. So yeah, really deep connection to the broader landscape of what we know today as New Hampshire.
So where are we going to jump to in history next?
We're going to head over to the Sherburne House, which was built in 1695, and we'll talk a little bit about the first English arrivals to Strawbery Banke. This is the oldest existing house on the museum grounds. The west half of it here was built by John Sherburne, who was a merchant. And this green space was formerly a tidal inlet connected to the Piscataqua River. So it was a navigable channel. Gondolas, these flat-bottomed boats, would be able to sail into the channel, drop off wares for merchants to sell, and pick up wares that local craftsmen were making. So we'll be having a new exhibit space in this house. And as part of that, we'll be able to talk a little bit more about the Black experience in the colonial period. So this house is actually also on the New Hampshire Black Heritage Trail because we know that the Sherburnes owned 2 enslaved people. So we're hoping to be able to show people a little bit more history about the perspective of Black people who were brought here to New Hampshire and their contributions to this neighborhood as well. So welcome to the Shapiro House.
Oh, look at this. Okay, definitely nice and warm.
Yeah.
And further ahead in history.
We're stepping into 1919. Wow. When the Shapiro family has established themselves in town.
Okay.
So this is their living room, and we can head into the kitchen.
Okay, great.
They arrived along with many other Russian Jews from Eastern Europe at the turn of the century and settled here, and Puddle Dock quickly became a Jewish neighborhood. They formed a minyan, a group of enough men to have a meeting, and then they founded our local synagogue, Temple Israel, which is the oldest synagogue in New Hampshire.
You know, I just love experiential history, and New England has so many opportunities to do that. But this has been amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You're so welcome. It was great having you visit.
I've got to go cook now. So can you point me in the right direction?
Yes, you're headed back that way to the Blue Wheelwright House.
Okay, thank you.
You're so welcome.
See you
Have
later.
a good day.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Amy.
Hi, I'm Nancy.
Nice to meet you, Nancy. Are you
Lynne.
Lynn? Nice to meet you. So I picked up some groceries at the Golden Harvest. Apples, carrots, onions, and potatoes.
Oh, nice.
Is that what you needed?
All
Okay.
those vegetables. We're going to throw those into a pie and make a recipe from the 1700s.
So cool. Okay. And then was there one other thing?
We're going to make some Chelsea buns so that you can have a lovely breakfast tomorrow morning.
Oh, nice.
So they're an 18th century version of a cinnamon bun.
Oh, wow. Look at this.
So as you can see, we're going to use our bake oven today, which is not something you would use just once. It takes a couple hours to fire that up.
So that would be like the first thing you do when you get up in the morning.
Right.
So tell me about some of the other elements of this oven. Like what kinds of cooking are you doing in different parts?
There's a meat roaster that we can roast meat on. There's multiple hooks. When you put something on your stove at home and you turn the dial, she doesn't have a dial, but she has hooks. So this hook would mean simmer. That one means boil. So she adjusts the temperature by doing
How
that.
close you are to the heat source. Rather than turning the dial, you're physically moving the vessel closer
down.
to or farther away from the heat. Okay. So should we get started cooking?
Sure. This is going to be Hannah Glass's onion pie from the 1760s.
Wow,
Yeah,
this is
these are
really
old
old.
recipes.
Okay,
So
cool.
we're going to just layer into this pie crust potatoes. Just put a layer in there.
Yeah, okay. All right. This is a slightly unusual combination of ingredients, but it's really appropriate for the season.
All the things you'd have in your root cellar.
Yeah, yeah.
Then some onions.
Okay. You would do like rings, right? Because you don't want to have a giant mouthful of onions.
Exactly. And then you're going to put in a layer of apples.
Layer of apples. So this is a sweet savory combination.
It is. It all fits together really nicely.
I think one common misconception about the food of this era is that it was very plain with no spices and not a lot of flavor.
Not true.
Yeah.
We're going to spice this after you put a layer of eggs on.
Eggs, interesting. Now, my understanding is eggs were sometimes used as a thickener or emulsifier in certain dishes, or maybe
These
just
are
protein.
hard cooked, so I think it's
Yeah.
going to be protein. But for spices, we're going to use a combination of salt and pepper, some nutmeg, and a little mace. Just smear a little bit of butter around.
Do you dot it or just like?
Yeah, that's what I do. I just
Okay.
drop little bits.
Little bit. I'm very intrigued. I can't wait to try this. This is really interesting. Just about, I'm doing it sort of guessing about this much.
You can be
little
pretty
more.
liberal.
Yeah. That looks great. Okay, so we're just gonna roll this over. There we go. Now, we don't have to be like perfectionist and trim and...
No, on a big baking day, they might do 5 or 6 pies.
Wow.
And a couple batches of bread, and so they're just making a lot of food.
Right,
So-
right. Now, how is this gonna bake?
Well, we have to finish getting the oven ready for it.
Okay.
Now, we want to bake off the heat of the bricks.
Okay.
Because we don't want our pies to be smoked, right?
Okay, there's our pie. Beautiful.
Okay, it's back in the middle there. And now we're going to close it up.
How do you tell temperature? I mean, I imagine you've developed a feel over time.
Recipes in the 1700s are mostly written for a quick, a moderate, or a slack oven.
Okay.
They don't have standardized temperatures,
Right,
so they don't
right.
worry about it.
Wow. That's so interesting. Well, I can't wait to taste this. And meanwhile, I'm excited to learn the Chelsea buns.
The Chelsea buns are amazing. You're going to
great.
love that. Yeah, let's
Okay.
get Lynne.
Okay, great. Thank you. Cinnamon buns are honestly one of my favorite foods. So tell me more about these Chelsea buns.
So this is one of my very favorite recipes that I've discovered from the 18th century. So it's basically a sweet dough with some fillings in there. So this recipe has one of the most intriguing folds. You're going to spread some butter over 2/3 of it.
Okay.
Okay. So we're going to sprinkle some sugar, light brown sugar and cinnamon.
Okay.
Okay, so then some currants,
Okay.
which have been soaked. You can soak them in orange juice, brandy, whatever your favorite little soaking thing is.
Are these soaked in water or?
Just water,
Okay.
yes.
All right. I didn't smell
This is the
anything
teetotalers version.
naughty.
What you're going to do now is you're going to fold that side like a book, and then fold that side over.
Okay, like an envelope.
Perfect. Turn it around.
Turn it this way and then roll it.
And then roll it.
Okay.
And then we're going to keep the butter, sugar, currant thing, and then roll it like a more traditional.
Okay. So what has working here taught you about 18th century cooking and 18th century cooks?
It makes me value women. Like to bake in the 18th century it's like a scientist. Baking's got math, it's got chemistry.
I think of the relentlessness of having to feed, people who were working hard and needed a lot of calories all day, just being in that kitchen, not to mention all your other household duties. It makes me feel exhausted and very spoiled.
The reason I like this recipe is the extra fold gives you an extra layer of filling.
Oh, that's so neat. And it's
all about the filling.
Right. Okay. So I'm just gonna
Make them as fat or as...
Yes. Oh my gosh.
See?
That's so pretty.
So these, when they go into the oven, they only go in for a short period of time. They're not to get too brown. They want them kind of a pale brown.
This will rise in here.
Rise, yes.
And then does it also bake in this?
It'll bake in that, yes.
Wow. We'll set these aside to rise and then we'll bake them off? Okay, great. Wow, look at this feast. So we have our pie and the buns that we made. What are some of the other things?
So we have a pork roast,
Uh-huh.
cranberries, because we're harvesting cranberries.
Right. Well, I guess we should have a little 18th century feast here. Yes.
Oh,
There
beautiful.
we go. Oh, that's so pretty. Oh, it just smells like all the good things, like Thanksgiving, and so yummy. Very hearty, but flavorful.
Right. The nutmeg and the mace in there.
And then the buns, we just take one. Well, thank you for reminding us that you can kind of bring history alive through food. It's one of the things I love about food, and it's one of the things that's so great about a place like Strawbery Banke is that history really does come alive.
Yeah. And now you can taste it.
Yay!